Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and all I have to say is she's back. Episode number 2. Beth, how you doing?
Hey, doing great, Mike. Happy to be back.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
this episode might age you a little bit.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. I just can't get
I'm
around it.
accepting.
Yeah,
I'm learning to accept.
there you go. Well, we are going to talk about Beth being an OG. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've been on my channel for the last month or so, you've known we've done some deep dives in house hacking, roommates, units, things of that nature. Cheat code to wealth. Beth started this in 1995, folks. Beth was house hacking in 1995. And as we heard in episode number 1, her mom is the true OG. She was house hacking when she was raising Beth. So I want to talk about house hacking as a single lady because I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs. And it's like, I can't do that. I can't house hack as a single lady. And you have proven time and time again that that's just not the case.
Yes. Ditch those self-limiting beliefs. Ask how you can do it. Don't just assume that you cannot. I would start with that. And it didn't have a cool name like house hacking back then. We just called it roommates,
Exactly.
It was just roommates, and that's been around since housing started, right? But so yeah, back in 1995, this is the start of my entire real estate journey, which has turned into a lifelong, career and passion and everything. I was a banquet waiter at a hotel in Seattle. I made about, I think, made tips maybe $15 an hour, something like that. This was back in 1995. And I remember thinking, like, I was talking to my dad, who's been really great and inspirational. He's very entrepreneurial. He's self-employed too, and he's very much an open-minded thinker, and very empowering. Thank goodness I had that. But I was talking about, like, I'll never be able to own a house in Seattle. I have no money. I don't have skills. Like, I didn't go to college, and I didn't have, like, how is somebody like me going to make it in this world? And people always thought housing was expensive. That is not a new thing. I want to make sure folks understand that back then people were feeling burdened by the cost of housing. And in my area, you're in the Bay Area. It's similar. I'm in Seattle where I was then. I live outside Seattle now, but houses were, the house that I bought was 125,000, and people, I want to tell people, don't get hung up on that number, just put it in context for the time. So what I did was I partnered with my dad. We bought it together. Mm-hmm. So because my income alone wasn't going to do it, so he was able to, I borrowed some of the down payment from him, and we drew up an agreement. So it was a legit partnership. Basically, it was a partnership where I worked on the house, and he co-signed to help me get it, to purchase it in the first place. And he helped front some of the down payment. So we were able to do it that way. And one thing also I wanted to mention about the house hack. So the main thing too is, like, I wanted to find something where I had space where I could put extra people. Mm-hmm. So, and what I found, there really aren't any, there's very, very little multifamily in the Seattle area. So I had to find a house that I could put people in. Mm-hmm. So, because I knew, like, on my $15 an hour income or whatever, there's no way I was going to be able to afford that mortgage, which back then was like, I think it was like $950 a month or something, Mm-hmm. Rates were high back then, people. It was like 8-9% or something. Mm-hmm. And so there was a bedroom in there, and I moved my brother in, and he paid me like half my mortgage payments, and then I was down to like 450, 500. Mm-hmm. And then I worked on the basement, basically dug it out. This is a 1916 house, so I had to, like, create a little like studio apartment down there, because I didn't want to share my space necessarily with strangers. I mean, maybe I would have if I had to. If you screen somebody right, you can find something that works. I always had roommates when I was renting. It's not that different when I would buy. Mm-hmm. So but I finished out this little mother-in-law unit in the basement and rented that out, and then had some great people in there over the years who they wanted some affordable housing too, and so it was win-win. Mm-hmm. And they would come and go on, through the back, and I never had to see them, barely, so. Mm-hmm. And they made it so it was affordable to stay there. Yeah. And then I was able to roll it in the future. I kept that house for a very, very long time, and I thought I would keep it forever. But then eventually things changed in the city of Seattle with landlord tenant stuff and other things that were just ended up being like time to sell.
Time to go.
Yeah. So I kept it even after I moved out and moved on. I kept that house. It was like the catalyst for everything else, right? So that taught me that I could do it, made it affordable, and I leveraged that in the future to purchase other properties. When I sold that, we purchased several other properties that are still, it's like the snowball effect that just keeps going and going. One thing I wanted to mention is as soon as I got a little equity in the house, I refinanced, paid my dad back, including his portion of the equity and everything. Like he got his money back plus some as an investor, and I just took it and went from there. And held it through the downturn. So that, I bought it for 125. I think I sold it for like 775 maybe 5 years ago or so. And keep in mind, there was like 10 years of crash in there, but I rented it out all that time during that crash. Again, it was cash flowed. It was, a good asset to have. And when it was time to move on, it was time to move on, and now I purchased properties that have development. Now I like to purchase properties that cash flow, but also have development potential later, kind of like a land banking sort of a thing. I found a little niche. My buy box is very specific. And when something comes up in those areas, I'm like, that one. I've got this like collection there. And someday I may decide to be a developer and build townhouses, or may just sell it to somebody else or whatever. It's good to have these options, but having that security of the house and the income, it built this foundation that I was able to build off of. And as a 21-year-old in Seattle, single lady, having that security, just everything built from that foundation.
I just want to, again, house hacking, whatever you want to call it, roommates, whatever. Single ladies, you can do this, right? You don't have the same landlord tenant law because it is roommates. You can say, hey, I don't want guys to live here, for example. You can. You can get creative and create a mother-in-law where there's a back entrance where you really don't see them. If the house configures, you can do units. It's just so amazing. And today, I think it's even easier, right? You can get a 3.5% loan or 5% conventional. You could do a 203K loan. Frankly, the environment we're going into as a real estate agent, this, I think FHA and VA buyers are going to have better opportunities because everybody's getting scared.
My goodness. This is their time to shine. I'm telling you. People want them. Please come buy these houses. And because definitely we have more inventory and opportunity now than we've had in a long time. This is the time you can negotiate repairs or credits. I love the credits personally, but you can get in for 3.5% down. You can't do that if you're like my first investment purchase that we talked about, like where I had to put 20% down, like you can get into an owner occupant for 3.5% down FHA, 5% conventional, or any number of creative solutions.
I think single ladies and single guys, but this is really about single ladies, need to know, and they need to look to people like you and April Crosley and Anna Kelly and all these other amazing investors and realize that they can house hack. The limiting belief that I'm afraid that many have that they can't because they're a woman it's not okay. You can do it. In fact, I would argue you should do it. Take control of your future.
Yes.
We all heard stories about my mother's generation and frankly, my sister who relied for whatever reason on a guy, and it doesn't end well. Own your stuff. Stand on your 2 feet. And it's, I hope Gen Z and millennials, ladies, I hope you own a lot more real estate. I really do. It's there for you. And house hacking is an amazing way to begin.
Yes. And is it a little bit inconvenience? Yes, it is. But so what?
Yeah. So what? You're 20. It's okay.
Changing. Yeah. This trajectory completely changed my entire life. Millions of dollars made. All these things happen that would not have happened otherwise. Is it worth it to share your space for a little while? Yes.
It's the cheat code to wealth.
If I was starting over from zero today, the very first thing I would do is find a house hack.
I have no question. It's one of my only regrets. I live in the Silicon Valley. I could have house hacked at 20 and didn't. I didn't buy my first investment till 30. Can you imagine what that 10 years in the Bay Area would have been? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But the point is you got in when you did, there's no point anybody ever coulda, woulda, shoulda.
No, I just want people to realize, do it. Do it. Start.
Yeah.
Again, if you're in college, house hack. If you're getting out of high school, you don't have a college degree, it's best, house hack. She was making $15 an hour as a, I don't know, I was going to say
banquet waiter.
I was going to say cocktail waitress. That's not right. Banquet waiter. Do it. Do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And again, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, if they're nervous, want to ask questions, they have limiting beliefs, how do you want them to do that?
Yeah, you can message me on Facebook. My name's right there in the corner. Or, just type in Beth Traverso into Google and my website will show up. You can reach me that way.
Yeah. Do me a favor, folks. If you reach out to her, tell her you came from one rental at a time so that she knows her time on this channel is well worth it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.